And welcome back to Across the Board with Ian the Colonel here on Hawk Radio, hawkradio.org. You know, I've got to say that, you know, we always have the best bands on the planet, not just in the U.S. on here, but some days are a privilege. Some days are an honor, and this is one of those days. So when we first started this radio show, a year and a half ago?
Almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, we made a list of bands that we wanted to get on. And in the top of that list, very top of that list, was Finger 11.
Yep.
Today is the day it's come to fruition. We have James Black, guitarist from Finger 11, with us. James, are you there?
I am here. Wow, I feel quite prestigious.
True, though, man. I'll tell you, the Colonel and I have both seen you guys play live before, separate venues, but it just, love the show, love the music, and have been a fan from the word go. So
thanks a lot.
No, man, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on. So let's talk a little bit about, you and I were talking off air about this, about singles. The singles you guys have released off so many albums have been incredible, but personally, I like a lot of your deeper tracks too. Like the Finger 11 album, the self-titled album, the entire thing should have been released in my view. But a lot of great deep tracks. And on the new album, I already have 2 singles out. Personally, I think Pieces Fit is my favorite off the album. What do you guys think about what gets released as to, what stays deep?
Well, I think what we're hoping is what you just said about the self-titled. Like, we're hoping to make all the songs like, okay, if any one of them can go out there and represent us, we love them all equally. I think the unfortunate thing is in the world of music that we live in now, it just doesn't play out that way. We're still obsessed over making an album that runs from beginning to end and all makes sense together, and unfortunately people aren't even listening to first of all the entire amount of tracks that you make for the record, and secondly,
right,
in the order that you intended them to be. So it's almost just become out of your hands, and so the only thing you can do is make sure that every song represents a good portion of what it is that you do. And I think that's one thing that's different about this record for us, is that from song to song, I think we have incorporated a lot of the individual sounds that would normally show up in one song, and then a different sound would be in the next song. I think on this record we tried to maybe have a lot of those sounds mashed up into each song.
It's interesting that that's your strategy, and again, that's another thing I like about your band, is that I can put on an album and just play it until it's to the end, and play it over again, and I love that. So talking about,
well, it's funny that becomes actually a point of would it be like a point of compliment for our band. We just try our best to hold ourselves to the standard of what we loved when we were growing up and when records were important. So.
And you guys are one of the few bands that do that, so we appreciate that as fans. And talking about that, what is your favorite song, period, your favorite Finger 11 song? Is it one that's been released as a single or something deep?
I think recently it would be the first song and the last song on the new record, Any Moment Now, and Love's What You Left Me With. I think those 2 songs on the new record really nail what we do, and also just as a listener, if I was never part of the band, I probably would be like, oh my god, those songs really move me. And
then, like, any of the classics or anything that you love to play the most on stage?
Probably Paralyzer is the most fun to play.
Yeah.
Paralyzer and a song called Good Times.
Yeah, love Good Times. Yep. Actually, I have that CD.
With Paralyzer, we really lucked out that is really the song that the audience decides to go ape for.
Yeah.
It's
right,
really fun to play as well, so all around that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have Good Times. Actually, that track's playing in my car. It was when I got out today. So,
cool.
Yeah, love the old stuff. Tip, Quicksand, all of the old stuff. Above, just it's just raw. It's the lyrics are raw, the way you write. And one thing I love about you guys, the show that you put on, and just listening, is that you and Rick are always so busy on the guitars. You're not just playing 3 chords and switching up. I mean, you're. I sort of liken you're playing a little bit to like an Adam Jones from Tool, that you're constantly playing something and staying busy throughout the song. Is that a conscious effort, or?
That's definitely. I mean, conscious effort almost sounds like too professional a term to apply to me, but it has never appealed to me just hearing songs that's like choo 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 choo. Like I appreciate songs like that. I think Weezer does that really, really amazing, but I don't know, there's a certain point where it's like, well, the only reason the guitarists that I love are distinct in that mind is because they played a certain style. They didn't just play the same chords that everyone else played,
right.
the same style that everyone else played. So I figure that's sort of my role in the band, is to try to inject some sort of guitarness, just because that's what I want to hear out of rock and roll.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, the great part about your songs, as well as your show that you put on. I mean, you are constantly busy, moving around. I can't remember, it was a song off the self-titled album, actually, when I saw you guys on tour, and there was one song you were playing and reacting to every note as if you were a marionette puppet. It was just cool to watch, and your guitars are incredible. The one that I know you played One Thing with is just... It's a weird-looking guitar. I mean, it's almost like abstract and like minimalist. Can you talk a little bit about that?
That thing's called the Silent Guitar, and it's originally designed just for practicing, for like a practice acoustic guitar that you can plug headphones in. And really, what happened was we started doing One Thing live, and we started doing acoustic shows while we were on tour, and I had nothing. I had no acoustic guitar that you could plug in.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the guys at Yamaha who had been hooked me up with the electric stuff. I was like, I need an acoustic. I need something. And a couple of days later, the guy calls back. He's like, yeah, I got your message. I sent you something, but don't be alarmed when you get it. It's not an acoustic, but it sounds like one. And so when I opened that thing up, I mean, for listeners, it's basically a stick with like two plastic frames around it. So it has the shape of an acoustic guitar, but there's virtually nothing in the middle.
Yeah, it's amazing looking.
So when I got it, I was like, oh man, I almost didn't even care what it sounded like.
Right.
Oh, this thing looks cool. I have to use this. And it turns out to sound great. It doesn't feed back the way like a normal acoustic would when you run it through an amp or something like that. But mostly it was just a happy accident that really happened to go in my favor.
Now, James, I saw you back at Rollin' Rock way back when, at least it feels like way back when to me, but back when I did terrestrial radio back in 97, 98, 99, 2000, I remember getting singles from you guys, and I remember looking forward to every single that you put out. And I remember the first time I heard, I believe it was either, I think it was Quicksand was the first song I'd heard from you guys, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, this is good. These guys are going to be something someday, and I really feel like that's the truth. What was your expectations when you were at that stage in the band? You guys were just getting started, just signed with Wind Up. Did you ever expect you to balloon and just become what you are today?
I suppose not. I think we all certainly believed strongly in what we were doing, but when Quicksand came out as a single, at the time, it had already come out in Canada, and we had a run-in with the label, and it had been dropped, and our drummer quit, and it's sort of like, to the outside world, it had been deemed like, yeah, this sucks. Everyone involved, like, oh, I don't really want anything to do with this, and we couldn't understand that. We just thought, well, this seems pretty good to us. We don't understand what's going on. Everything's dropping like flies around us. And then we lucked out with signing this other deal with Wind Up and getting down into the States and having this whole new big world opened up to us. But yeah, I don't think even from the beginning we ever really aspired to great superstardom. It was just like, yeah, we're doing this. It wasn't like, let's do this. It was just, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, you definitely hit it, I'll tell you. This is Across the Board with Ian the Colonel here on Hawk Radio. You're listening to James Black, guitarist from Rainbow Butt Monkeys, better known now as Finger 11. Yeah. So that the original name of the band when you guys were kind of funk back then. Now, you guys have done some covers, and personally one of my favorite bands, Depeche Mode, you guys covered Walking in My Shoes. What made you choose that song, some of your influences there?
I think just the quality of the song. I think at the time, I don't know, for me that was a sign that I was starting to listen to other things. And I think that's just all that happened, the sort of coincidence of timing. We were making a record, and all of a sudden I was listening to some songs that didn't have big electric guitar in them, didn't have enormous drum beats and complicated screaming vocals and stuff. It was just something entirely different, and it still had that weird dark intrigue to it. And So I think that's really what got me going on that song, was like, wow, I can't believe I can still feel these weird, sinister feelings that I get from heavy music. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen to Depeche Mode. It's not categorically heavy instruments. So I think that's what really got me excited about that song.
You've had quite a few songs on soundtracks for video games as well, but one of the things I noticed was a trend for a while there where you had a lot of songs on different like Marvel Comics movies. You were doing The Punisher and Daredevil and Elektra. Was that because, are you guys big into the comics and are you liking what they're doing with the movies, or was that just because they were wind up they were wind up soundtracks?
It was, initially the deal was forged between Wind Up and Marvel, and we were just sort of peripheral to it. But when it first got presented to the band, like, hey, would you guys be interested in, should we pop your name into the list? And I was always raised on comic books and superheroes and all that stuff, and I still to this day am nerded out about that stuff. But so we were instantly like, yeah, okay, yeah. And unfortunately you're just part of the piece of, you're just a piece of the puzzle at that point. So you have no idea that these movies are going to turn out to be absolutely terrible. It's just exciting to be a piece of something that, nostalgically pays tribute to the stuff that you came up digging.
Right.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. I think so. Those movies, like, there's promise there, but they turn out to be garbage.
Are you looking forward to any of the ones?
Punisher could be made just incredibly, and they just haven't done it yet.
Are you looking forward to any of the ones coming out this summer, like Captain America or Avengers?
Oh yeah,
or not Avengers.
Super stoked about
Thor.
that. The Captain America one looks pretty awesome.
That's what I think too. I think the Captain America one's going to look a lot better than Thor.
Yeah, and then James, you do a lot of the artwork surrounding the website and the albums and all of that as well. Talk a little bit about that.
That's just something I've always been doing. I actually, from when I was small, I think I actually wanted to be an artist. That was my thing. I had my best friend growing up played guitar and was good at drawing, and I was good at playing guitar and I was good at drawing. And as we were kids, I would always say, oh, I want to draw comic books. And he was like, oh, I want to be a professional guitar player. Now he does cartoons, and I play guitar. So it kind of switched out in reverse there. But it's always been a lifelong thing of just making art. Ever since the Tip record, I was really involved in the album covers, and then it just went from there, being pretty hands-on with some of the videos and stuff like that, and really just taking the opportunity of like, okay, if I have this visual ability and talent, then how can I apply it to this other thing I love, which is music?
Yeah, and again, talking about that Tip album, the first album to come out with Wind Up there, just I mean, when I listen to that song in particular, Tip, Tip and Quicksand, everything on it's good, but if there's ever a band that inspires you to play air guitar, I think it's Finger 11. I mean, you rip into the guitar so viciously. It's nice. I mean, it's just something quiet and then and it's insane, man.
I know. I was hoping those old records would come out on Guitar Hero or something like that.
Oh, that would be great.
Not
there
anymore.
Is some of those little challenging bits in them all. Whenever we go back to do some of the older tracks, it's always a cool reminder. Oh man.
So then, are you bummed out by the fact that? That's okay. Are you bummed out by the fact that Guitar Hero has been canceled now?
It has?
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
I didn't hear that either.
They canceled it.
How was that possible? Wasn't it making tons of money?
Nah, the last one bombed.
Wow.
So I guess they
too many too
maybe
fast.
Rock Band took over or something.
Yeah.
I think Rock Band's about to be cut too.
Wow.
Oh, so it's all done. Everyone's
the musical genre's run its course now.
Huh. That's a shame.
Well, it had to come to an end somewhere. Maybe people will actually play real guitar now.
It's true.
Right.
Maybe they will, right?
Like Justin Sanderco said, be a real guitar hero. Now, this is just a question that popped up every time I've heard 1,000 Mile Wish, one of my favorite songs by you guys. Are you playing a guitar with nylon strings in the beginning of that, or is it just a muting effect?
No, I think it's, it's like this old, I don't even know what the make of it was, almost like Dan Electro, old ragtime guitar with it had little F holes in the side. It didn't have a big sound hole in the middle.
Oh, okay.
And it just was kind of acquired by a producer of ours. They're really cheap online, and I think he got it because it looked cool. And then when we played it, it sounded like you had paper in between the strings.
Yeah, it was nice. I knew.
Ring.
Yeah, I knew it was a different
sound.
sound.
That's what we want. We don't want like that clear Alice in Chains kind of acoustic. We want something very weird weird and old sounding.
Yeah. Now, who are some of your favorite guitarists, James?
Definitely David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, Steve Hackett from early Genesis, John Frusciante from the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slash.
I'm glad to see Genesis get some love.
Countless list, Dave Navarro. I don't know. Yeah, I guess a lot of the '90s stuff, like Faith No More, but Chili Peppers for sure, Pearl Jam for sure, Blind Melon. I thought those two guys were amazing.
Yeah, it's a shame they're not doing anything anymore.
I know. Yeah, well, there's tragedy, and then they continued on without Shannon Hoon, and it kind of just, that's when you're really confronted with how great someone was.
Yeah, Shannon Hoon was amazing.
Try to replace them after the fact, and it just doesn't work at all.
That's one of those
same musicians, same talent, but just not the same payoff.
Yeah, he's one of those I remember where I was the day that he died. Same with Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. I'll tell you, James, you guys are obviously touring right now, and you've been touring for so many years. What do you take with you on tour that kind of keeps you sane, keeps you grounded?
Mostly the iPod, laptop. It's pretty much a pair of headphones and some sort of machine to get out of the workaday kind of environment is really all you need.
Anything surprising?
When we first started touring, we used to have to bring like a binder full of CDs, so it would be 200 CDs in a book, and then a Discman and these big headphones.
Discman.
By the end of it, 50 of your CDs would be wrecked.
Yeah. Anything surprising in your iPod, like Celine Dion or something crazy like that?
I don't know. I think probably people would be surprised to know, like Katy Perry. I have that latest record in there that I guess I've listened to it more than once and was like, you know what, these are really, really well-made pop songs. And I have then a bunch of old Spanish Disney music.
Spanish Disney music?
I don't know why. It just, I really dig it.
Like the songs are in Spanish, or it's Spanish guitar?
The songs are like Disney movies where they would just depict an area, like maybe they went to go to Spain. The movie would just be about Spain.
So obviously the new album is Life Turns Electric. A couple singles off that. Do you know the next single to come out? I know Whatever Doesn't Kill Me is coming out. Is Pieces Fit going to come out as a single? Do you know? Or
I'm not sure if it will be like an official single with the big push of everything. I think I was thinking of trying to make a video as sort of an interim single.
Nice.
I don't think it's going to get the big push at radio. Like, I think Stone Soul is going to be the next song.
Yeah. See, they're so different. Stone Soul has it's slower. It's sort of almost more of a pop. Like you said, you were talking about some pop songs. It almost has that sort of feel. Whereas Pieces Fit to me is like more kind of raw, old school Finger 11, and I love the riffs in it. So I
agree. There's always this thing trying to consolidate efforts, and I've always argued, like, why don't you take the rock song to the rock radio, and then the pop song to the pop radio, and then just have two different singles. And I'm not really the one that goes out and works it and pedals it at the radio, so I don't know how it all goes. But they tend to enjoy it being all consolidated and working one song rather than two.
I got to ask, because there are so many people out there who have heard of you guys, but I'm sure there's someone listening somehow, somewhere, who have never heard of Finger 11 before, some odd reason. How can these people learn more about you? How can they keep in touch with you? I imagine Facebook, MySpace, Twitter.
I think finger11.com, 11 written out. When you get there, it's pretty much a hub for all the rest, like Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. I go on Twitter once in a while, Facebook, once in a while post a video clip or something. And try to stay a little bit in the loop, but out on the road, it's kind of an untethered existence.
James, what do you guys have left to accomplish? I mean, obviously, we hope you have so many years and so many great albums ahead of you. But what goals do you still want to accomplish in the industry? What do you want to look back and kind of have written about you when you guys are done? The legacy of Finger 11.
I don't know. I think it's a tough answer, but I think really all we need to do now is to make sure that whatever we put out from this point forward is quality that we can stand behind, and that we don't get caught up in the race, in the chase, and start doing things that just are convenient but maybe not based on quality.
Yeah.
So I think that's a major thing for us. We want to be able to, at the end of it, look back and not say, "Oh, look at how many records we made."
Right. So last question, still rocking the Mohawk?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think every time I've seen you guys, you always have that. It's got to be cold up there in Canada, rocking that thing around. I'll tell you.
I know. Yeah, it's there are certain days where it's like, oh man, I wonder if this is a good idea. But for the most part, it's just consistent and simple.
Yeah, right.
It's almost just ingrained into the routine now.
Nice. Well, James, I honestly, this is a huge honor for us to have this. I know I always talk about we have the best bands on, but there are truly days where it's an honor to do this show because we are fans more than anything else.
Man.
And yeah, it just, definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. So to get you on, this is something we've been trying to do for months.
We've been working on this.
Yeah, so when we finally got this confirmation, we were stoked out of our minds. So I can't say how much we appreciate the time. And the new album is Life Turns Electric. Check these guys out on the road. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Rick is a madman throwing his guitar around. It's like he's on something. I was going to say E or something. I don't know what he's on, but and then James, you always put on a great performance too. It's incredible, and hopefully you guys coming back around the Mid-Atlantic area of the state sometime soon, and we'll check you out. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this year you'll see us.
Great, looking forward to it.
Keep our eyes open for that.
Yeah, so that has been James Black with Finger 11. Again, Life Turns Electric. Go get it now. Don't buy a single. Don't buy one song. Buy the entire album. Pay the $9.99, whatever it is on iTunes. I did it, so go out and buy it. It's incredible. Again, Pieces Fit. Check that song out. It's my personal fave. This has been Across the Board with Ian the Colonel here on Hawk Radio.
HawkRadio.org.